Please begin finishing up. And stop. This is a very good group. Thank you very much. When I do this in New York, they don't like to talk. They sit there like this. So I thank you for being a very participatory group. I'm going to go on and explain a little bit more. I'll explain why Rich Dad, Poor Dad has sold so many copies as best I can explain. It's very simply, it defined why the rich get richer. And I put it in pictures. Now, I didn't do very well in school, so I like to draw pictures all the time. And so Rich Dad did the same thing for me. I just drew pictures. So when I was a little boy, my Rich Dad very simply drew a diagram like this. This is called income, expense, asset, liability. This is the basics of financial intelligence, financial education. This is called, in accounting terms, this is called an income statement or a P&L, and this is called a balance sheet. And unfortunately, what most people do is they look at this by itself or they look at this by itself. They don't look at the relationship between these two. So the reason so many people get in trouble is they don't know what an asset is. So if you take nothing else from today, please take this with you. Assets, this is the definition. Assets put money in your pocket whether you work or not. I'll say it again. An asset will put money in your pocket whether you work or not. So the most important word in financial education is this word here. So what I'm looking at is I want to see which way the cash is flowing. So this is an asset, and it's putting money in my pocket whether I work or not. And the next definition is liability. A liability takes money from your pocket whether you work or not. So for most people, they call their house an asset when it's really a liability. They call their car an asset when it's really a liability. And this is the main reason in America we have a middle class that's dying right now. Because what's happening is their houses are going into foreclosure, their cars are being repossessed when they lose their job. And meanwhile, the rich, because the prices are falling, my wife and I keep adding more and more assets. That's why I write about an unfair advantage, this book here, that 2010 was the best year of our lives. We never made so much money. And the reason is because, unfortunately, these people were losing because they were buying liabilities they thought were assets, and we were buying their assets. So in 2010, very good year, extremely good year. So the point is, nothing has changed. This is when I'm 9 years old, this is when I'm 60 years old. But I know the difference between assets and liabilities. So, I'm going to give you 1 minute. Anything can be an asset. This book is an asset. I make $2 per book, 31 million copies. That's $62 million. Every year, more money comes in my pocket. Once a quarter, every 3 months, money comes in my pocket. Love this book. So please hear me. Anything can be an asset. Even here in the Czech Republic. This electricity is somebody's liability, but the cash to pay for this electricity is somebody else's asset. In America, if I buy a car, I buy a taxi license, when a taxi driver borrows my car, and he or she drives my taxi all over town, but they pay me for my car. So a car can be an asset or a liability. My wife and I just bought a boat, and the boat is in a charter business. So every month, it's money in my pocket, every month. My wife owns 3,500 apartment houses. Every month, money puts in her pocket. I have oil wells. Money comes in my pocket. I have other businesses. Money comes in my pocket. It is the thing that makes the rich rich. And the poor and middle class struggle because the biggest mistake for the poor and middle class is they don't know assets from liabilities. And the middle class right now is out shopping, looking for new cars, new houses, stuff like this. And they're going to be poor in America. Now, it's not that easy to write a book that sells 31 million copies. I got lucky. But you can do it too. But you just have to know what assets do. Assets put money in your pocket, and assets are all around you. If money is flowing out here, like this, it is flowing in here on somebody else's financial statement. As an entrepreneur, I want money flowing in. The middle class has money flowing out. Does that make sense? So, would you please take a moment and discuss assets versus liabilities? If you're really brave, you can talk about how many assets you have or don't have, but you don't have to do that, okay? But we're going to go in versus liabilities. So please determine assets and liabilities. Assets definition, puts money in my pocket. Liabilities, take money from my pocket. Ready, go. Please discuss the definition. 1 minute.